Welcome to Home Family Life. I'm Leah. Today I want to talk to you about controlled sleeping. I'm by no means an expert, but I wanted to share with you what I'd found by doing this with my own little boy and how it's benefited our life. So to give you some background, Tommy has always been a really good sleeper right from day one. Apart from when we got him home from the hospital, we had a couple of days of very sleepless nights. It turns out later that we found out that he was just very hungry. He wasn't feeding properly. So he has always been a good sleeper. He even was going down on his own, like we put him into his Moses basket and he would put himself to sleep, but he was always with us, so he always had one of us by his side. And I think that when we changed his routine, he didn't like it that we weren't there. So what was happening when he got a bit older, when he was going to bed earlier, he was wanting to be held until he went to sleep, and I really didn't mind doing that because he was such a good sleeper. Once he was asleep, he stayed asleep. He wakes up early, but when he's going to bed, he does go to sleep and he stays there. So I really didn't mind holding him and giving him cuddles and rocking him to sleep, because I knew that it would give us what we wanted, and that was for him to go to sleep. During the day, I was never really able to get him into his cot, so I would rock him in his pushchair, but I'd have to bring his pushchair into the house, and it's really bulky, so it was a bit of a pain. But again, I did it because I knew he would go to sleep and he would stay there for an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. So again, I didn't mind doing that because I knew that he would get a good sleep. And I always planned to challenge the daytime sleep, to try and get him into his cot. But every day there'd always be something that I needed to do, and I needed him to have a sleep. So life kind of got in the way of me trying to tackle that one. Then as he got a bit older, he was getting harder to rock to sleep. He's never been a cuddly baby. He was when he was first born, but quite a cuddly baby, but he hasn't been for a long time. So I've not been able to hold him in my arms successfully for a little while, particularly when he's getting tired, he fights it. So I was getting to the stage where I just couldn't be bothered with dealing with the hassle of trying to get him to sleep. So we decided that we would try the controlled sleeping, because if we put him in his cot awake, he would just cry. So we decided to do some research and to look at ways of getting him to self-soothe himself, because it was getting really difficult to put him to sleep. I've just got some notes here just to see a kind of time frame on things. It was around the 3rd of July, so just over a month ago, that we started doing the controlled sleeping, and Tommy was just over 7 months at the time. So we always stuck to a bedtime routine. So we would give him his bottle, get him changed and into his pyjamas, and then we would bring him up to bed, and he would be in his sleeping bag, and we would often read to him, sing to him, give him a few cuddles, and then we would put him into his cot. And he still has a dummy, so we would give him his dummy as well. We knew that he would cry because he always did cry when we did that. So to begin with, what we did was we'd do that and then walk out of the room. We have a camera that we can use so we can monitor him, that's put through our phone, so we could see him, we could make sure he was safe and wasn't hurting himself. So we would then set a timer if he was crying. So we'd start off with a 2-minute timer. If he was still crying at the end of the 2 minutes, we would go into him and calm him down, and then come out again and set a timer for 3 minutes if he was still crying, and so on. So it would just keep building up and building up, a minute at a time. At first I was picking him up because he was just getting so upset, and so I would pick him up, try and calm him down, and then he would almost be asleep in my arms. I'd put him down, walk out of the room, and he'd be crying again. He just knew that I was out of the room and he wanted to be held or didn't want to be left or something, I'm not sure. So that went on for a few days, not very long, just a few days, but I honestly didn't think it would work, because he got to the stage where he was just so upset that even me holding him didn't work, he didn't help him, he was just getting more and more upset. And so I just didn't think that we were going to be able to get past that. I didn't think I was going to be able to get past that. It was just horrible to listen to. So I think there was one night when I actually brought him back downstairs because he'd just gotten so upset and I couldn't do it any longer. So that went on for a few days, and then I think Keith went away for a night or two with work, and thought, I've got to tackle this by myself. Anyway, that was few days later, that was around the 7th of July, so not very long later, but when you've had to deal with night after night of crying, each night feels like a lifetime. Anyway, that evening I got him ready for bed as normal, did all his normal routine, put him into his cot, and I think I walked out of the room. There was a little whimper from him a short while later, but not enough for me to set a timer, and so I didn't. I would only set a timer if he was actually crying, and there was a little whimper from him, and then that was it, nothing. And I thought, hallelujah, I've won it, I've won the battle. And I never thought in a million years that that was going to be possible with the nights of crying that we'd had on the lead up to that. So the fact that that had actually happened was a miracle to me. We have had times since then where he just hasn't settled. There was one night where we'd got up to 10 minutes, so that's not 10 minutes of crying, that is 2 minutes of crying, then 3 minutes of crying, then 4 minutes of crying, and each time going in between, and we got up to 10 minutes, and we were getting close to that 10-minute alarm going off, and I said to Keith, if he's still crying at the end of this 10 minutes, I'm going to bring him down, because he was just getting far too upset, and I didn't think it was worth leaving him any longer without bringing him down and trying to calm him. So I was going to bring him downstairs, let him sit with us for a little while, calm him down, and he just might not have been tired enough, I'm not sure, but I just wasn't willing to take it any longer than that. Anyway, before that alarm went off, he was asleep, so he had kind of cried himself asleep. So yeah, it has worked. It takes some patience. It's horrible listening to them. We put our sound on our phone on silent a few times, but we could still see him, so we could still see that he was safe and he was okay, but just to listen to the crying constantly was just horrible. But it didn't last very long, and I'm so glad that we tried it. He wasn't hard to put to sleep before, but he was beginning to become more difficult, and I didn't want to have to deal with that night after night of having to rock him to sleep. And some nights it would be 5 minutes, some nights it would be 10, sometimes half an hour, and the longer it would take to rock him to sleep, the less time we had to ourselves in the evening. And I would particularly need that time to myself, because then you got the next day and you're back to doing everything for them, which is fine, but you do need some time to yourself. You need some time out so that you've got the energy to then deal with it again the next day. So I'm so glad that I did do it. I then had the challenge of dealing with it during the day. Now, he'd only gone in his pushchair during the day. I had, when he was younger, been putting him into his Moses basket or his carry cot from his pushchair, and then as he got bigger, because he's quite a big boy, he's very tall, he grew out of his carry cot rather quick. So then he would just sleep on the sofa next to me or on a blanket on the floor, just various places. I'd never managed to get him to go upstairs alone, because I kept him with me. That was the advice, so I stuck to the advice of keep them with you for 6 months. So that's what I did. Of course, then I had to teach him to go in his cot during the day when he wasn't as tired as he would be at night. So that was going to be really difficult. There was nothing stopping him from moving, and I did try it once, and he stayed I think asleep for half an hour, and it just wasn't long enough. I needed a bit more time for him to be asleep, just for him, because he needed the sleep. Anyway, I decided to challenge it, and we'd cracked the evening, the nighttime sleep, so it's time to crack the daytime sleep. And I did put him down the first time, and I can't remember how long that was. Just have a look, see if I made a note. No, I haven't made a note of when that was. I'm not exactly sure how long after we started the controlled crying that I put him down in his cot during the day. But he slept for, I think, half an hour to 45 minutes that first time, so it wasn't long enough, but I was so happy that he had actually gone to sleep, and I don't think he had much fuss from him. Since then, he goes in his cot all the time, apart from if I'm out, but I generally try to do all my jobs in the middle of the day when he's awake, so he has to sleep somewhere between 9:30 and 10 till anything up till 12 o'clock. It just depends. And then he has to sleep after 3 o'clock. And again, it just depends on how long and what's happened earlier in the day. So I tend to, if I need to go out or want to take him out, to go out between lunch and 3 o'clock, so that he has his naps in the cot. So I'm not bringing this pushchair in anymore. And he would manage to do it. The longest he slept during the day is 2.5 hours in the morning, and then about an hour to an hour and a half in the afternoon, and it was a late afternoon nap, and I thought, we're never going to get him to go to sleep tonight, we're going to have a right challenge on our hands. Anyway, he went to bed late, but he slept from about 8:30 till 9 until after 7 a.m. Anyway, I'm so grateful that I did give the controlled crying a try, and it really has worked for us. So give it a try, see if it works for you. It might not do, or you might have to adapt it for your own needs. But if it works, let me know, leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you later. Thank you for watching. Bye.